This is a simplified fingerstyle version of He's a Rebel, written by Gene Pitney in 1962, made famous by the Crystals, Vikki, Carr, and others. It changes key after the first two phrases. It goes up a fret or a half a step. The Crystals sing it in F for the first part and then move it up to F sharp. I start on F sharp and move it up to G. If you want to play along with the Crystals, you can lower your strings a half a step or put yourself a capo up here on 11. I start off with this barred F sharp chord and play that melody. Starting on the 4th string and then hammer on the 3rd string. Flatten down, and then repeat, and then I go up to this D sharp minor with this melody, so that's on the 7th fret, 1st string, 2nd string on the 9th fret, 7, 6, and then you go to this B chord, and lift and put back on with your bar, and then you go up to this C sharp chord. So this first run is and the second run just repeats the first run for the first part. And then when you get to this B chord, it changes. And then you go from the B to a G sharp, staying on this D sharp as your melody. It's D sharp, F, D sharp, and then you go to a C sharp and a D, which changes your key to the G, to the key of G. So the second F sharp run looks like this. The rest of the song is in the key of G. It starts off with a G chord. B is your melody. A, G, A, and then you go to your E minor chord. And you play on your 3rd and your 4th strings. Back to the G chord, and then to a D, and there you're playing an A and a B. So the first two chords are. Then you move to the C chord, chord, you just walk up the string, starting on the 5th. And then you move down to a B7th chord. Also walking up and down. And then you go to your E minor chord. And that's B, A, G. And then you go to a C bass and do the same thing with the B, A, G. And then a D bass and do the B, A, G. And then back to a G chord. So the first G run looks like this. Starts off with a G, B, A, G for the melody, then you go to an E minor, B, A, G for the melody, so you go to a C chord, G, A, G, and then you go to a D chord, A, B, and then you hit a D and go down to the G chord and a D with an F sharp bass and back to the G, which takes you to the break. So that starts off with a G. He's always good to me. E minor, because he's not a rebel. Break starts off with an instrumental on G and E minor. And a G with a G chord, which changes 3, 2, 2 on the D note, open E, D, B, and then the E minor chord. G. And then you go to a C chord. And then the break goes to an E minor. A C, and then an A chord, and then a D, and then it goes back to the He's a Rebel. And this E minor part of the break starts off on the B on the 7th fret, 5, 3, 2, 3, 2, open, D, and then you go to a C chord, starting on the E, D, C, B, C, B, A, and then you go to an A chord, way up to the A7th, and then a D chord, and then back to the He's a Rebel. from a G to an E minor. This G, E minor part at the end. It's G, A, G is the melody.